Shalom, everyone. So this is a super special Shabbat. It's a 3 Torah Shabbat, meaning we take out 3 different Torahs during Torah reading because it is not only Chanukah, but it's also, of course, regular Shabbat, and we have a Parshat Miketz, and it also is the beginning of the new month of Tevet. It's Rosh Chodesh Tevet, all on one day. So there's something I wanted to share with you that I was thinking about for this week. I discovered this learning when I was preparing with my niece, who's actually having her bat mitzvah this Shabbat, and we got to learn together. And this idea comes in the moment where Joseph, finds himself in a bad place, in a dark spot. He's in jail. He's been sent there because of accusations made by the wife of Potiphar. He was working in Potiphar's house. She accused him of making advances at her. It seems to be in the text because she had interest and he said no, and she was married, and it's a whole complicated story. But it lands Joseph in jail, and he's just sitting there waiting for something to happen, waiting for a way out. And in the moment in this parsha where he gets his way out, what leads into it is that Paro has these 2 dreams. One dream is about these 7 thin cows that eat these 7 fat cows, and these 7 thin sheaves of wheat that devour 7 fat sheaves of wheat. And Paro doesn't know what to make of these dreams, and he's looking all over for someone to explain them. And then he hears about Yosef, who's in his jail. And when he goes to take him out of jail, the verse actually doesn't say Yosef's in jail. It says Paro takes him out of, and uses the word bor. Bor means in Hebrew pit. And it's describing where Yosef is as being in a pit, but he's not in a pit anymore. That was what happened to him a few weeks ago when his brothers threw him into the pit. Now he's in a jail cell. So why does the verse use the word pit instead of the word for jail? And so the commentaries look at this, and some of the answers that come out relate to the fact that although he physically was in a jail, in Yosef's mind, he was in a pit, because he had all of these experiences, all these memories of his life, even though it was very short, but those moments he spent in the pit, and that what was sitting on him, that was sitting in his mind and holding onto his heart, and that made him perceive the place that he was as not being a jail, but as being a pit. And the way that the commentaries discuss this, it really sounds as though the verses describe what he perceived to be reality rather than what reality actually is. So by the verse saying bor instead of Beit HaSohar, saying pit instead of jail, it was communicating that he kind of shifted what was actually happening, his reality, and made his perception of being in a pit into the reality, so much so that the verse actually uses the word pit instead of jail. And that made me think about really how much of an influence we have on our reality by the things that we're thinking and the things that we're feeling, right? Our thoughts and our feelings can change the reality that's in front of us. It can make us see something as one thing, even if it's another. And part of how that happens is based on the things that we take in and allow to enter our minds and allow to enter our thoughts. In Yosef's case, he was thinking about his own past, but sometimes it's not just our past that we're thinking about, it's also our present. For a while after October 7th, I would start my day every day listening to the news, reading the news. I would go to bed checking the news, and I noticed how much of an influence that had on how I saw everything going on around me. The darkness that it brought in, especially because most of it was bad news at the time. Just the way it influenced my whole perception of things, right? If I was going to wash the dishes, I would see it as another thing, like rather than, okay, now I have an opportunity to make my house cleaner. Like it shifted everything that I was thinking. And it had such a strong impact on me. And to the contrary, I decided at a certain point, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I'm going to start my day listening or reading something positive and uplifting, and try to close my day that way as well. And how that shifted my perception of reality. And so I kind of think about Hanukkah as these 8 days of, let's infuse ourselves with all of this light. Let's listen to happy music. Let's do all of these positive things. Let's literally bring light into our homes and increase the light every single night. and allow that to kind of come into our worlds and help us see, how does this shift our reality? How does this shift our perception of things based on putting these positive things and these uplifting and supportive and spiritual elements into our minds and into our hearts? Which made me think of a Hanukkah song. It's called Yomei HaChanukah, the days of Hanukkah, and I want to share a couple of lyrics with you, and then we'll put the music in the chat. This song I've known for a while. It's sometimes seen as a kid's song. I never realized how much depth it had until I was thinking about this. So some of the lyrics are, Begil u'besimcha mimalim et libenu. With glee and joy we fill our hearts. That this is like a deliberate act of finding these joys, these acts of joy and glee, these things that make us happy and feel good and feel fulfilled, and deliberately putting them into our hearts. And what are the things that are listed in the song? Laila v'yom svivonenu yisov. Day and night we spin the dreidels. We bring our joy through that. And this is a really fun line. Suf ganiyot nochal bam larov. We will eat many jelly donuts, many pastries, many Hanukkah treats. So if that makes you happy, you are invited by the song to do so. And ha'iru hedliku. We will give light, we will make light, and we will kindle many Hanukkah candles. So we're going to open up the chat, and I want to invite everybody, if there's something that you're planning on doing, whether it's during Hanukkah or after, that brings more light into your mind and into your heart, and that you hope will allow us to learn from. We can do what you're doing, we can learn from you, and hopefully those things that we're bringing into ourselves, deliberately filling ourselves with, will allow us to see our reality in a way that maybe is closer to how we wish we could see it than how it actually is. So wishing you all a Chanukah Sameakh, a Shabbat Shalom, and a Chodesh Tov.